Hey everyone, I hope you've had a great day so far and that you're doing well. For this video we'll be continuing through our unbagging of Combat Patrol with issue number 17, and Combat Patrol is for the Warhammer 40,000 setting. So we've already had a bit of a sneak preview to issue 17 and likewise issue 18, and that between the two issues we'll get a full 10 unit, well, I'm going to say 10 man just for the sake of simplicity, but it'll be a 10-man Termagant squad with a Ripper Swarm, obviously being Tyranids. They're not men, but that's besides the point. Anyway, getting straight into it, issue number 17. So we have some artwork here on the very front with the Termagants in question. I did used to know the names of the weapons, but it has been a while, so yeah. That might be a Devourer, but anyway, moving along. So that nice image there on the front of the issue, and then here we have the Termagant squad. I was going to say swarm, Termagant squad / unit, and the Ripper Swarm, part 1 of 2. Issue number 18 will have most likely a few additional runners, sprues, and all 11 bases. What else is in this issue? So there'll be information regarding the first founding chapters, lore information regarding Leviathan, and how command points work. Now there is one plastic sprue, but it has been split down the middle, so it's 2 half sprues basically. And I still don't know why the magazine does that. Anyway, build-wise, it will go through the steps on how to build the Termagants and the Ripper Swarm from a lore perspective. It's actually quite lore-heavy. Two stories, I guess, for the Imperium in general. So life in the Imperium, death in the Imperium. For the Space Marines, we have information regarding the first founding chapters. For the Tyranids, High Fleet adaptations, and some general fiction on tools of war. I don't know if that's a continuation for the I can't remember the name of that chapter. If it's part of that or something else. From the play side, so command points and stratagems, the basics of, and bring it down as the scenario. How to build Termagants and Ripper Swarm. Everything is snap fit, so everything's pretty much going to come together nicely. I would still imagine, even for the Tyranids, from a snap fit perspective, you would probably still want to just lightly trim up the peg before you attach it to the main body. Ooh. Ouch. On the back of the page, still going through the build, and even the Ripper Swarms now are a little bit more separate. I think the last time I saw an actual Ripper Swarm base, they were all in the one base. Nice. And then you just have the completed unit here once all together. Lore-wise, life in the Imperium. So there'll be some sentences here regarding life in the Imperium. I'm going to hate this part. Oh gosh. Let's move into the other side. So no doubt that'll be an interesting read. I can see the words Imperial Creeds there. So no doubt, obviously, the day in life within the Imperium. And then what happens when you die. So server skulls, without necessarily going to the full depths of that. Then we have a bit, oh gosh, a bit more here with a very nice piece of artwork here for a tech priest or tech priests, which is nice. I've always enjoyed some of that artwork, but I still stand by the whole, I don't think I could ever do an Adeptus Mechanicus army. First founding chapters. So we go straight into some nice artwork here for the Dark Angels. I will admit, from the 2nd and 3rd edition to what they are now, it's not terrible, but it's interesting how they've evolved over the years. But that's my general take on it. They're still my first founding Space Marine chapter and always will be. But yeah, they've obviously taken a bit of a lore change over the years. On the back, so we get to see each of the first foundings, so the original, well, the Loyalist Legions. So we have the Dark Angels, the White Scars, the Space Wolves, Imperial Fists, Blood Angels, the Iron Hands, Ultramarines, Salamanders, and the Raven Guard. I do actually like those. nice little piece of, obviously with the main chapter iconography and just how they've been put on those shields against the Imperial Aquila. Okay, High Fleet adaptations. So apparently each of the High Fleets may have a particular style of combat that they may adapt to. So we have Leviathan here. So it looks like they're moving into some type of close combat orientation with the, I think that's the, never mind, I'm not going to try. But anyway, that's Leviathan. Behemoth seems to have stuck with the Scything Talons, which I think is cool. I'd actually much prefer the Scything Talon look. Hydra seems to be a direct copy of Behemoth. I wonder if that's intentional or not. Kronos. So they like some of their ranged bioweapons. Kraken are still very much close combat. In fact, there's at least 3 High Fleets that love their Talons. And then, what is this? Jormungandr. Is similar to Kronos, where it looks like they like a bit of a combination. Without reading each of those little blurbs, I'm sure there will be some more information there. Tools of War, so it's a little fiction piece. I think it's an independent fiction piece of the fiction that's been, oh gosh, running through each of these issues so far with, I really can't remember the name of that particular Spaceman chapter. Playside, command points and stratagems. Now, as of the point of recording, 11th edition has been out for a few weeks now, so I believe command points and stratagems haven't really changed. Nice that they have this little command point token thing down here, although I'm always reluctant to start chopping things out of magazines. Although at the rate this issue is going, it's just going to tear itself up for me anyway. Command and re-rolling, which is always nice to see. I'm not going to worry too much about the charge because I think that's slightly changed. And then the scenario, bring it down. So we've got obviously the conditions between the Space Marines and Tyranids and how to win, and obviously how the deployment and all that is pretty much planned out. Decent combination between the Space Marine units and the Tyranid units. In fact, it looks like it's pretty much everything for each faction up until issue 17. In fact, I take that back because I can see 10 Termagants, so it's pretty much up to issue 18. Tyranid turn 1. Oh gosh. So obviously going through each of the phases and an example of what they're doing. Space Marine turn, so each of their phases, and a visual of what they're doing as well. And lastly, of course, the Space Marine Tyranid victory conditions, and then Combat Patrol. Now, I hinted in a previous page through that the Tyranid and Space Marines were very much coming to an end. I think there's 1 unit each. I think it's the it's just on the back. So the Parasite of Mortrex will be the last unit for the Tyranids, and I think it's the Chaplain on a Bike will be the last for the Space Marines within Combat Patrol. And then, as we can see here, so would be what, issue 19 onwards, maybe? We'll start moving into the Eldari and Chaos. Now, I'm pretty certain they're not going to come out in red and dark blue. But we'll get some new battle mats, which is always nice. So that's always nice to have. But yes, you can pretty much see a bit of a preview there. So from the Eldar side, so we'll definitely get some Eldar Guardians, a Farseer, Wraith Guard, Wraith Lord, and the Jetbikes. Oh, and there'll be a weapons platform there as well for the Guardians. And I think for the Chaos contingent, I can see a Dark Apostle, Terminators. I think that's a Havoc squad, the standard Legionaries, and a Hellbrute. It's definitely not too bad for the Eldari and the Chaos side of things. Always a good way to branch out both. Okay, so back of the issue. So we already know issue 18 will be a continuation of the Termagants and Ripper Swarm. So that'll pretty much have whatever remaining bits of sprues needed, as well as all the bases. And then the actual how to paint them, how to field them, and there'll be some information about the successor chapters for the Space Marines, which makes sense since this one had a little bit about the first founding. And then issue 19 here will have the Parasite of Mortrex, which I do believe will wrap up the Tyranids. So I'm guessing this is probably supposedly the Vanguard beast, I guess. The Silver Templars, as I was thinking about earlier, and some information about the Great Crusade. So that is issue 17. What else was included with issue 17? 2 bits of sprue. Not carbon copy. You can definitely tell where they've been pretty much started together and then were split apart. So you pretty much have at least 1, 2, 3 Termagant bodies there, some arms and legs, and some of the Rippers. So the actual most of the Ripper swarms there, and then there's a few more bodies here, a few more arms, etc. In terms of the weapons, it looks like it will be pretty much the same actual ranged weapon here, which, as I said before, I cannot remember. My memory for the labels of Tyranid weapons, very hazy these days. It's been a while, to say the least. Okay, so that brings us to the end of the page through of issue 17 of Combat Patrol. Bit interesting once we tick over into the Eldarian Chaos side, at least from a model perspective. But yes, it'd be nice to finally bring to an end the Tyranid and the Marine contingents of the Combat Patrols. I know the Marine side is obviously good for me because I'm trying to make a generic Blood Ravens army. Trying to. That's the key point here. Thank you very much for watching this video. Feel free to leave a like, comment, subscribe if you enjoyed the content. All of this does help support the channel and I do appreciate it. Extra content is on my Instagram as well as the YouTube community tab. It's basically just work in progress stuff of what I'm actually working on. May or may not be 40k, but I think it's trying to trickle in a little bit, especially trying to get an actual army off the ground. Which is funny because I've got my Emperor's Children literally chilling in a box. Long story. With that being said, stay safe and take care, and I'll catch you all in a future video, whether it's Combat Patrol issue 18 or something else on the channel. See ya.